Hey everyone, Idris here from Just Another Night, back with another video. So for those of you who tuned in last week and who have tuned in into the guys' videos, you'll know we've got an anime themed week this week. So today I'll be reviewing the manga, which is One Piece. Definitely a great manga to read and 100% recommend it already. It's one of my favourites. So as you know, Curtis put out a video on Monday where he talked about his favourite Dragon Ball games. It's quite a good watch, so I definitely recommend go checking it out. Wednesday, Toby had talked about his favourite animes and animations, and his basically top picks. And make sure to also tune into our podcast. We release them every Thursday, so we put one out last night where we talked about what live action films or TV shows we'd like adapted into animes or animations, and vice versa. But again, those who are new to the channel, make sure to comment down below, like, subscribe, tell us how we're doing. We'd definitely like to hear from you guys. We'd definitely like to get feedback and tell us what you're enjoying so far. So without further ado, let's get into it today. So guys, as you know, today's topic is One Piece. It's an anime that was written by Eiichiro Oda, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, and it started way back in, I believe it was 1997. Currently it's got about 96 volumes out, and it's an amazing anime. It's published for Shonen Jump anime. It's definitely worth checking out. It follows a great story and the artwork's really good for it. It's been out for quite a while now, so it's got a huge following as it is. There's films for it, there's an anime series, and of course you've got your manga and you've got your various spin-offs. So without further ado, let's get into a bit of the plot. So One Piece is set in a pirate era. The world's divided by North Blue, South Blue, and what's known as the Red Line, which sort of splits the world apart. It follows the story of Monkey D. Luffy. He's a young boy who had an idol by the name of Shanks, who was an absolute powerful pirate. You quickly learn that in this world there was the ultimate pirate, essentially, the Pirate King, whose name was Gold D. Roger. He was able to travel the world and amass a huge wealth that he then hid. He named this treasure One Piece. So from a young age, it's been Luffy's aspiration to become a pirate, you know, to roam the free world and following Shanks' footsteps ultimately. One day Shanks comes to visit and he has this fruit, and Luffy's quite a curious boy. It's quite funny watching him, and he basically eats this fruit, and you learn that these fruits are known as devil fruits, and whoever eats them are granted certain abilities. So in the case of Luffy, he's granted the ability of rubber, so his entire body becomes rubberized. Quite similar to that of Mr. Fantastic. Now, the story starts when Luffy, for whatever reason, he goes out to sea, and this massive fish, like almost like a shark, turns up and is about to eat him. Shanks intervenes and in the process loses his arm, and Luffy's absolutely distraught by this. In order to cheer him up, Shanks gives him his hat and says to him, one day when you come out travelling on the sea, you can return this hat to me. And that's sort of what sets off Luffy's pirate career. It's definitely a very entertaining manga. It's very long, but it has been around for quite a while. It's one of those where it does have its serious moments, but then it's also got quite a lot of light-hearted moments as well. And it's a very interesting cast of characters. So currently Luffy's main crew is known as the Straw Hat Pirates, and this is because the hat that Shanks had given him was a straw hat. So each member of Luffy's crew have got their own sort of personal aspirations, and that's essentially what brings them together. They've got that friendship, but they've also got that acknowledgement of each other. So for starters, you've got Roronoa Zoro, who's a samurai, and essentially he wants to be the greatest swordsman in the world, and he's got this three-sword technique which is pretty awesome to watch, especially in the anime, in a lot of his fights. The second member is Nami, and she's a navigator, and she basically wants to draw the first map of the entire world, hence why she's joined Luffy on this journey. The next is their cook, and that is Sanji. he essentially wants to explore the world, see all of its ingredients, and be able to make the best dishes available. The next person we have is Usopp. His dad was actually a member of an infamous crew. He sailed with Straw Hat, and he's basically the sharpshooter of the crew. He's quite funny, he's got a few quirks, but all the characters have, which is what makes him interesting. We've also got Frankie, who is their shipwright, and he's basically a cyborg. And it's pretty funny to watch. He mods the ship out so it runs on coke, which is pretty hilarious. The next member we have is Robin, and hers is more of a darker story. You learn that she's quite old in terms of she was there when the time of previous myths and legends, if that makes sense. So she's learning about history basically, and she wants to have all the knowledge of the world essentially. And that leaves us with Chopper, who is their medical, their doctor on board the ship. He's basically a little moose or a reindeer, and he's got various forms. And then you have Brooke, who is the musician, who's a skeleton. Again, like, each of these characters have got their own stories, which is going on throughout the series, and it's very interesting because it's quite linear almost. You see their development of each characters, but there are times where they've all had to split up for various reasons, and they've come back more powerful, more knowledgeable, and better in their respective fields. And for those of you who are reading it, you'll also know that they've now had a new member join, who is Jinbei, who used to be a former Shibukai. So I mentioned earlier that Jinbei was a former Shibukai. Now, the Shibukais are a group of pirates. I believe there were 7 of them. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But these were pirates known as warlords that were hired by the Marines in order to help them sort of keep control over the seas. They are summoned at various events to help the Marines in various situations. One of the most prominent ones is the Marineford arc. It's an amazing arc, and I 100% recommend it. It's one of the things that kept me going with One Piece. So essentially that arc, spoilers ahead, is the execution of Port Auguste Ace. It's essentially a turning point for a lot of these characters and what they call the new generation of pirates. They have a public execution for Ace, and Luffy obviously turns up to stop this execution with a huge armada backed by Whitebeard and all of his pirates, and a massive war essentially ensues. Unfortunately, Luffy's not able to save Ace, but like I said, it leads to a turning point of all of these characters then deciding to get stronger and come back. So on the flip side to the Marines having the Shibukai, the pirate warlords, the pirates have what's known as the Yonko. Now, the Yonko were 4 infamous pirates who had basically conquered most of the world and are the 4 strongest pirate alliances or pirate crews. These previously consisted of Whitebeard and his crew. You had Big Mama. Her crew was about sweets and candy and whatnot, and that's where she sort of gets her power from. Then you had Kaido. His is that it's the Beast Pirate crew. All of his pirate crew have the sort of Beast Devil fruits, which allow them to change into different animals. And finally, you've got Redhead Shanks, who's the other infamous Yonko. After the Marineford arc, when Whitebeard helps Luffy to save Port Auguste Ace, Whitebeard actually gets taken out by Blackbeard. Now, Ace and Blackbeard both used to be former pirates of Whitebeard's army, and what had happened was Blackbeard had turned against Whitebeard, and Whitebeard had then sent Ace after him. In doing so, Blackbeard sort of betrayed the pirates, and essentially he allied with the Marines, but solely for his own purposes. He has a special ability which allows him to take other pirates' abilities. So as I mentioned, there's these devil fruits which grants various abilities to people. So during the Marineford arc at the end, in order for the remaining pirates to get away, Whitebeard stands up to the Marines, and in doing so he ends up being killed. Once that happens, Blackbeard defects from the Marines, and he then becomes the 4th Yonko, taking place of Whitebeard. It's an interesting story because that's currently where the arc is on at the moment. Luffy and his crew have taken on Big Mama and they've escaped from there. Now they're currently on Wano, which was a samurai country, and they're in the process of trying to take on Kaido. It's a very, very good story. As I said, there's ups and downs to it. There's been very light-hearted moments, like Luffy's a very laid-back, carefree kind of person. But when it comes to his crew and his family, essentially, he's very passionate and he really gives his all. So, here's a couple of my opinions on it. Like I said, it's one of my favourite mangas, animes out there. I've been watching animes and reading mangas for as long as I can remember now. And so, at the time that I started, there's quite a few that were, these long-running animes. You had Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, of course. So, One Piece has to, by far, be my favourite. Solely because what's happened with other animes that are this sort of long, such as Bleach and Naruto, is that they've had their goals set out from the start, and it gets to a point where it gets quite tedious almost in them chasing those goals. And then once it got towards the end of it, they pretty much rushed them and ended them. One Piece, however, even though he's got that focus of he wants to become the Pirate King, and that he wants to find essentially One Piece and that treasure, he's got no rush to do it. So he will tell everyone that yes, he wants to become the Pirate King and he will be the Pirate King. But he's more than happy to sidetrack and go and help his fellow crew members in their sort of quests and things. I mean, after the Marineford arc, there's a moment where I believe it's either 2 or 3 years, they essentially take part solely to get stronger. See, Luffy's got his morals and he sticks by them. And wherever he goes, he's always befriending new people, and that's what makes it interesting. It's not the constant sort of whining, essentially, that you get in Bleach and One Piece. In Bleach and Naruto. Naruto, for example, his constant thing of becoming the Hokage, and once he did, they essentially rushed through it. What One Piece does is it takes its time, it develops its characters, and it develops its stories. Because it's such a big world and the concept is so huge, it allows for them to sort of drag it out without making it so dull. So guys, that's the end of the video for today. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure to comment down below on what you guys think of One Piece, if you've already read it or seen it. And if not, let us know how you think the channel's going. Is there anything we can improve on? Is there anything you guys would like to recommend, in fact? We're always willing to listen to you guys and work on that. So be sure to comment, like and subscribe. And also check out the other guys' videos as well as the podcast. They're definitely interesting videos and it's definitely worth listening to. So I hope you're all staying safe. Bye for now.